This week's new film is Samuthirakani's Appa, and I'm going to begin by talking about a scene in which a father, who's named Dayalan and played by Samuthirakani, arranges a cup of coffee kind of meeting for his son and a girl from the son's school. It's not exactly a date though. The boy, a teenager, is confused by his feelings towards this girl, perhaps towards all girls. He says his heart starts hammering, he goes tongue-tied. Dayalan understands that part of this is the unfamiliar feeling of attraction to the opposite sex, but another part is simply unfamiliarity with the opposite sex. So he asks his son to bring the girl home. He serves coffee, he makes them talk, they lose their inhibitions, they become friends. Later, Dayalan tells his son that it's important to be at ease with the opposite sex and not fear them or fetishize them. Otherwise, you might grow up to be the kind of man who, when faced with a woman, whips out a bottle of acid or a knife. In light of what just happened at the Nungambakam train station, a chill ran up my spine. All of which is to say that I agree with the things Samuthirakani wants to say in his films. I even admire with the things he wants to say. These things need to be said. But when is he going to make the leap from pamphleteer to filmmaker? Appa is like his earlier directorial outings like Nadodigal or Nimindinil, where the screenplay is just one message after another, each scene a problem-solving exercise that results in a nugget of wisdom. Appa is dedicated to Samuthirakani's Tirayulaga Appa K. Balachandar, and he seems to have imbibed only the preachy aspects of the great director. Among the kids Dayalan mentors is a Muslim. She wants to study agriculture and help farmers. There's a Dalit who wants to bring about an intercaste relationship. A boy whose growth is stunted is also there in the mix. He follows his dreams and proves that it's not the size of the person that matters, but the size of his spirit. But Balachandar was also interested in the complexities of relationships. He would have never written Dayalan's wife as a one-note shrew who needs to be punished simply because she wants their son to be like other kids. She wants the child to go to play school. That's not unreasonable. Dayalan says that's the refuge of lazy parents who don't want to spend time with their kids. So the wife screams and slices the hand with a knife. Dayalan caves in. The next time they have an argument, she leaves him and goes back to her father's house. This is the tone of the film. It's scene after hysterical scene with abrupt transitions. What happens to the intercaste couple? Is Dayalan's wife back with him simply because she wasn't treated well in her father's house? Given the fundamental differences between Dayalan and his wife, do they even have a shot at happiness? The film follows many threads and none of them are satisfactorily explored. Dayalan's son is at first a swimmer, then he says he wants to study history. We never get into the boy's head, so we don't see these as decisions. They are just data points. A cartoonish Thambi Ramaya plays the anti-Dayalan. He's at the other end of the spectrum, a father who wants to control every aspect of his son's life. The boy ends up in a residential school where students are punished by being stripped and thrashed. This is what I mean by exaggeration. Samuthirakani has grown into a terrific actor and he works consistently with really good filmmakers. You wonder if it isn't time for him to look around between shots and pick up some tricks if he's going to keep making movies. But every time there was a moral message, the people around me clapped. There was really loud applause. Clearly, there is still an audience that after a century of cinema is only interested in what is being said and not how. In other words, they're only interested in content and not form. That really may be this film's biggest message. And then we have Jackson Durai. I have to call this a well-crafted misfire because the craft is really there. The story is about an SP named Satya, played by Sibiraj, who's dispatched to investigate the spooky happenings in a house haunted by British-era ghosts. And the director Tharanidharan, who earlier made Burma, knows what it is to have a vision. He knows what he wants his films to look like, to feel like. He is, in other words, a genuine filmmaker, someone who knows what a reverse zoom is and who's not afraid of using it on a ghost. The detailing in Jackson Durai is lovely. The ungarish visual effects, the mottled makeup, the stone gargoyles on the gates, the 100-year-old costumes, everything is fantastic. But Tharanidharan's writing this time lets him down. Jackson Durai only sounds like a horror comedy, the kind we get every other week. The plot is more intricate. It wants to do more than just make you laugh and scream. It actually wants to tell some kind of story, a Groundhog Day kind of story that keeps looping back on itself, each iteration being the opportunity for a change. But too much time is wasted to get to this point, and when this conceit does kick in, not enough is done with it. The film at once feels too short and too long, and the flashback to British India is played too straight. It's not weird enough, it's not funny enough. The actors, the cast includes Satyaraj, Yogi Babu and Karunakaran, don't get much to do. This film really ought to have been way more fun.